Many centuries ago, two nations were at war, the Israelites and the Philistines. These two groups had been enemies for a long time, and now they were facing each other once again. The armies camped on opposite hills with a valley between them. The Israelites stood on one side, and the Philistines on the other. The tension was heavy. Everyone knew this would be a serious fight. But instead of both armies charging into battle, something unusual happened. The Philistines had a champion, a warrior unlike any other. His name was Goliath. Goliath was not just tall, he was a giant. He towered above ordinary men, so large and intimidating that soldiers trembled at the sight of him. His armor was massive and heavy, shining in the sun. He carried a huge spear, and his shield was so big another man had to carry it for him. Every day, Goliath came forward and shouted across the valley. He challenged the Israelites to send just one man to fight him. "Why should both armies fight?" he mocked. "Send me a man. If he wins, we will be your servants. But if I win, you will serve us." This was not just about war anymore. It was about honor, humiliation, and fear. For 40 days, morning and evening, Goliath came out and taunted the Israelites. And for 40 days, not a single man dared to step forward. Even the king of Israel, King Saul, was terrified. Now, far from the battlefield, there lived a young shepherd named David. He was the youngest son in his family. While his older brothers had gone to join the army, David stayed home to take care of the sheep. He was not a soldier. He had no armor, no training in battle. He was simply a boy who loved music, poetry, and looking after his flock. One day, David's father sent him to the battlefield to deliver food to his brothers and check on how they were doing. David carried bread and supplies and eagerly hurried to see the action. When he arrived, he saw the two armies lined up, just as before. And he heard Goliath shouting his daily insults. The soldiers around David were trembling, whispering about how impossible it was to face the giant. Some said the king had even promised great rewards to anyone who could defeat Goliath: wealth, freedom from taxes, and even marriage to the king's daughter. But no one dared to move. David was shocked. He looked around at the fearful men and asked, "Why is no one going out to fight him? Who does this Philistine think he is, defying the army of the living God?" His words spread quickly, and soon King Saul heard about the young shepherd who was asking questions. The king called David in. Saul looked at David and shook his head. "You're just a boy. You can't fight him. He's been a warrior since his youth, and you have no experience." But David didn't back down. He explained, "I take care of my father's sheep, and when lions or bears came to attack the flock, I went after them. I struck them down and rescued the sheep from their jaws. The same God who helped me protect the sheep will help me defeat this giant." Saul was surprised by David's confidence. Finally, he agreed. He told David, "Go, and may God be with you." Before David went out, Saul tried to give him his own royal armor. They placed the heavy bronze helmet on David's head, strapped the coat of armor around his body, and gave him a sword. David tried to walk but could barely move. The armor was too heavy, too big. David shook his head and said, "I can't go in these. I'm not used to them." He took off the armor, set aside the sword, and decided to face Goliath with only what he knew best. David went to a stream nearby and picked up 5 smooth stones. He placed them in his shepherd's bag. In his hand, he carried his sling, a simple weapon used by shepherds to protect sheep. The battlefield grew silent as David stepped forward. The Israelites watched in shock. Was this boy really going to face the giant? On the other side, the Philistines roared with laughter. Goliath saw David walking toward him with no armor, no sword, only a sling and a shepherd's staff. Goliath mocked him. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" He cursed David and shouted, "Come here, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and wild animals." But David didn't back down. With calm courage, he replied, "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord. Today, everyone will see that the battle belongs to God." The tension was unbearable. Goliath moved closer, towering over David, ready to crush him. But David reached into his bag, pulled out one smooth stone, and placed it in his sling. With skill and precision, he swung it around and released. The stone flew through the air and struck Goliath right on the forehead. The giant froze, stumbled, and then crashed face down to the ground. The impossible had happened. The boy had defeated the warrior. David quickly ran to Goliath, took the giant's own sword, and cut off his head. The Philistines panicked, terror filled their hearts, and they fled the battlefield. The Israelites cheered and rushed forward, chasing their enemies away. In that moment, David's life changed forever. He went from being a shepherd boy to the hero of Israel. His courage and faith had saved his people. King Saul was astonished, and the nation celebrated. But more important than fame or victory was the lesson everyone learned that day. True strength does not always come from size, weapons, or armor. Real strength comes from faith, courage, and trust in God. The story of David and Goliath is more than just an ancient battle. It's a story that still speaks to us today. We all face giants in our lives. These giants may not be 9-foot warriors, but they can be problems, fears, doubts, or challenges that feel impossible to overcome. David's victory reminds us that no matter how small we feel, no matter how weak we think we are, we can overcome great obstacles with courage and faith. The giant may look undefeatable, but with determination and trust, the impossible becomes possible. The lesson is clear. Never underestimate what you can do when you have faith and courage. Giants fall when we face them boldly, not when we run away in fear. So, what's your giant? Maybe it's fear of failure, financial struggles, health issues, or even negative voices telling you that you're not good enough. Remember David. He didn't defeat Goliath because he was bigger or stronger. He won because he believed. This story continues to inspire millions because it shows that anyone, no matter their size, age, or background, can achieve victory when they trust, prepare, and take bold action. That's the power of the David and Goliath story.